Albie and April wanted was a safe, loving childhood.
We used to go out a lot. I remember going to the beaches a lot. It wasn't until I got to a certain age and then things changed.
That change happened the moment they were placed in state care.
You made an organisation that was filled with paedophiles and freaks.
You know, if it wasn't happening to you sexually, it was happening to you mentally and physically.
It was all males. They held you down on this table and introduced you to what we call the duck beak. And after that moment, you learnt don't f***ing cry. You're not a victim, and you shut up.
This is the first time Albie and April have told their whānau what happened to them as children in state care.
You know, not just with the violence that was going on up there, you know, there was there's some sick adults up there at the time, that done some things that leave an everlasting impression in your mind. They never ever go away. Yep, I had somebody play with me out there. And it sits up here.
Albie doesn't know why he was placed into state care. He was 12 years old when he was first sent to Dunedin Boys' Home at Lookout Point, then was relocated to Kohitere Boys Training Centre in Live-In. April hasn't forgotten the day she was taken from her grandmother and placed in Kingsley Girls Training Centre as an 8-year-old.
And the day I got made a state ward, she was in court begging the judge. But he said she was too old. And as soon as I saw my grandmother's head drop, that did something that I can't even put words to. It still sits there, and I never got to go home. I wasn't allowed, even when I got out of Kingsley. I went to a family home down here.
When people start treating you like nothing, you start feeling like nothing.
You can become numb real quick.
When you become numb, you start getting angry. It's the only thing that you can connect to when all these acts are being done to you.
April is a recovering alcoholic and says her time in residential and foster homes led to alcohol and drug addictions.
I learnt very hard within the first 6 months. You know, you got to take the bash, you suck it in and get over, and you get back up on your feet. You never ever be a f***ing victim. And I still believe that today. You will not make me a victim. However, my mental health, my emotional well-being, my wairua was damaged.
Albie and April have been together for 25 years. They share 7 kids and 18 mokopuna. They say they lost their Māori cultural identity while they were in care. Both found refuge with the Black Power gang. Their gang pad is where they felt comfortable sharing their story with us.
My parents weren't allowed to speak Māori. That's another thing that got taken off us, you know, all due to the government. So we never knew nothing about it. And then when I went to join the Black Power, for me it's the Kaha, that's where I learned to be a Māori. Learned to learn Māori things. That's why I say Kaha is my iwi first. And then I'll take Ngā Pui Waitaha, because that's where I learned to be a Māori first. I hope people aren't, you know, taken aback by that, but that's just how it is for me.
A lot of people aren't aware that this is the case, that there's...
Andrew Erueti is part of an expert group leading a Waitangi tribunal claim seeking a full inquiry into historical state care abuse for Māori. Albie and April support the claim.
Māori were the majority in some of these institutions and homes, particularly in the 1970s across Auckland and the homes here. They made up the majority, up to 70%, perhaps more. And it's interesting too because this is the decade really when the allegations of the worst abuse took place. So it's important, I think, to be very clear about that. It's just not a disproportionate representation, but in fact a majority in many cases.
The government has acknowledged there was abuse in state care. They set up CLASS, the Confidential Listening and Assistance Service, in 2008. The CLASS panel recorded 1,100 cases, but it was closed to the public and controversially shut down in 2015. Community leaders and former state wards, including Albie and April, want the government to hold a full public inquiry.
You know, the government is trying to do something and that has to be recognised. It's just that that process is flawed for Māori and for non-Māori. And so there needs to be an adequate remedy. And that's the heart of the claim really, is that they be provided with a comprehensive, independent inquiry into what happened. That just hasn't happened today.
The government has paid $22.1 million in compensation as a result of claims of abuse while in state care. This includes $7.7 million paid to the claimants referred to the ministry by CLASS. Albie received some compensation, but says it was hush money.
We don't speak. Well, I'm not even supposed to be speaking about this because I signed some paper, and they gave me a stinking $16,000. And you know why they gave me a stinking $16,000? So they can hurry up and sweep it under the carpet. And that's why they're quickly trying to pay everybody out now. So that they didn't have this inquiry. And it will. This inquiry will open up a whole lot of things that they don't want opened up. That's why they don't want it. But they need it. And this country needs it. Not just us that happened to, this country needs it.
Albie and April say the government needs to be held to account publicly. And the only way to do that is with a full inquiry and public apology.
Where's the responsibility from the government? When are they going to front up? We've got nothing to hide, you know. I've been to jail for all these sorts of things. You name it, I've been there for that. And I'm not going to hide about that. So when are they going to front up?
If you don't acknowledge what you did to us and open up an inquiry, then you're blessed or cursed for the same shit to go down.